This is Suspenders Unbuttoned, a podcast where friends talk with friends about TV, movies, and books.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Suspenders Unbuttoned podcast. My name is Sarah.
And I'm Julie. And today we're excited to have our guest, Andrew Biernat, with us. Welcome, Andrew.
Hi, it's so great to be here. Thank you for having me.
We're happy to have you here. We connected with you through a mutual friend, and I was excited because I've actually been following along on all the behind the scenes footage for Wait With Me. So I think it'll be a lot of fun to chat. So thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about your movie Wait With Me, which is streaming on Passionflix right now.
So it takes it's about she's an author. Her name is Kate, and she is kind of going through a period where she's having trouble finding inspiration to write her books, and she writes spicy romance novels. And she stumbles into a tire shop called Tire Depot, and she finds this inspiration while she's in there. And so she's sneaking in, and she's trying to find any excuse to just be in there to write in the comfort center. And her and I end up meeting, and she kind of uses me in a way to get book research, and we end up falling in love. And I don't want to give too much away because I don't know if you guys as viewers have seen it yet, but it's a rom-com, and it's a lot of fun. And the lead actress, Madison Lawler, she's phenomenal in it. I think she's kind of the glue that makes everyone's character work. But she's fantastic. So if you guys haven't seen her in anything, I'm sure you guys are going to be seeing more of her.
Yes, we both watched it. Julie, you did, right?
Yep.
We both watched it, and we know that it's based on a real romance novel. So tell us, did you read the novel before or when you got the role?
Yeah. So Amy Dawes is the author, and the book was adapted, or the movie was adapted from the book Wait With Me. David A. Gregory helped adapt the script. But yeah, what's funny is the book originated from the actual author, Amy Dawes. She was having trouble finding inspiration, and she went into her local tire shop called Tires. This is all true. Like she really did this, and she was like borrowing her family's cars, her neighbors' cars, just anyone's cars that she'd get to go in and get an oil change so she could sit in the company comfort center. And she one of her friends pulled a prank on her and like delivered like a bunch of pizzas and hot wings. Like there's some things in the film that actually happened to Amy in real life.
Hysterical.
Yeah, so it's really funny, and I think she wrote the book in I think it was 14 days or something like that. So, which is crazy because it's kind of a long book, you know. But yes, I read the book. I read the book like 15 times.
Wow,
that's crazy.
Up until we started filming, and then when I was working out at the gym, I'd work out for like 2 hours a day. I would listen to the book on Audible. Yeah. So that's all I was doing for like 2 weeks up until filming. I was just like, that's all I was taking in was that book. So it was helpful too.
I kind of love that. I think, she wrote a book that was so relatable. I have no trouble picturing sitting in the customer comfort area at a tire place and watching the guys work. Like, honestly, there's that picture window so you can see him back, right? There's the coffee machine, and she had great donuts in her version. That's not always the case in some versions.
I apparently at the original place that she was sneaking into, called Tires. I guess the comfort center that they had in the front area, like the waiting area, I guess they had like really great like gourmet coffee, and they had all these pastries, and it was all like free. So she was taking full advantage of that. But it's really cool that that was a real thing that happened to her.
Yeah, so it's like working at a Starbucks, which lots of
Right.
people do, right? But instead it was the tire place, because you're never going to get I just don't feel like you're going to get the same rom-com experience by sitting at a Starbucks as you are sitting at a tire.
Well, you're not going to get all that tire lifting, right?
Yeah. Well,
So much tire lifting.
What's funny is I'm originally from Spokane, Washington, and my dad's a mechanic. He's been a mechanic his entire life, and he doesn't own this. He had to close this down. But when I was still living in Spokane, I worked with him at his mechanic shop called Euro Auto. Perfect. It was nothing like what Amy described. It was our waiting area was very sad. It was not a
no gourmet coffee.
No gourmet coffee. It was probably burnt coffee, and
smells like greasy tires.
Yeah, it wasn't as exciting as tires where she went, but I had some experience. I used to work on cars with my dad. I worked with him for like 2 years, and I mean, I grew up around cars and holding the light for him and getting yelled at and doing the wrong things a lot.
But that's how you learn. Like I kind of love that, and that actually comes off in the movie because you never look like you don't know what you're doing, right? Walking around the car or being around the cars, and that does actually come across because sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, that actor has never done X, Y, or Z before, right?
Yeah, totally. And the first week of filming, we shot completely at the tire shop.
Fun.
And yeah, it was. I mean, it was a real mechanic shop. They had all the bays that you lift the cars up with, and they had real tools in there. And so being in that environment like brought back a lot of memories of working with my dad, and it was something good that I could tap into, and it was just that first week was awesome. I felt like I was at home,
right?
So it was cool.
When you're in a place that you're comfortable, then you can work on the dialogue and the acting, and you don't have to worry about something you're so comfortable with. I kind of love that. You can kind of tell you're at home in the shop scenes, right? Like like you just feel like you could stand there and chat all day.
I'm happy it came across that way. So that's because I felt comfortable. There's a scene where I use an impact drill.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't let me actually turn it on and use it, and I was so mad. I was like, please come on. I was like, this is easy. Like, this is the easiest thing ever to take the tire off. And they're just like, well, we just can't, because just in case you get injured. But I was like, I was being a drama queen. I was like, please just let me do it for real.
No, for real, I know what I'm doing. I for real have used one of these.
Since we're talking about Miles, that's who you play. Your character is Miles. Tell us something that you really liked about him as like a character.
Well, I really loved the connection he had with his grandfather.
Yeah.
That was I was really, really close with my mother's father. When my parents divorced, I ended up we lived with my grandparents for like a year and a half, and I was just always really close with my grandparents, and they owned a donut shop, and I felt like most of my childhood was at their donut shop, and just watching my grandfather interact with the customers. And he loved what he did. He loved making donuts, but I think what he enjoyed the most was just the customers and the people. And like, he would talk with anyone that would walk through that door he would just talk with them for as long as they were willing to talk to him, until they were like, okay, I have to go to work. I have to leave. But he just loved people, and he was just such a kind man. And so it was really easy for me to like kind of imprint that relationship with the same relationship that Miles had. It was kind of a mixture of like my grandfather and my dad, because Miles learned everything from his grandfather, how to work on cars, and that was what kind of connected them and their relationship. So it was, I kind of took things from my own life, but I really loved that connection that he had with his grandfather.
Kind of love that. Do you have a favorite scene that you shot in the movie?
Favorite scene? So I've said this quite a few times, but yeah, I'm gonna stay with this one because it's still I had so much fun doing it. But the breakup scene that we had, it was very tolling on Madison and I, because it's just it's a hard scene to do. It's very emotional, but like I remember after we got the final take and they said we got it, like that's a wrap. I remember looking over at Amy Dawes because she was on set the entire time of filming.
Cool.
Yeah. So, which is no pressure, right? Just the author of the book. Yeah.
That's a question I have for you, actually, to tell us a little bit about how it was having the writer on the set the entire time.
Yeah,
like, did you feel like you had to live up to the Miles in the book, or?
Yeah, it was, but it was also, we had the person that created these characters there, so, yeah. and I took full advantage of that. Like, anytime I had questions or, just like, what was Miles like exactly? Like, what did you picture him thinking in this moment? Like, so I took full advantage of it. And even though I kind of had I read the book several times, and, the cool thing about the book is that it was dual point of view. So literally it goes back and forth between Kate and Miles, and like you literally hear what they're thinking internally, like in scenes. So I had so much source material, but yeah, having Amy on set was phenomenal, because she probably was so annoyed at me because I was just like, what do you think about that? What do you think Miles is thinking in this exact moment? Like, does it seem like I'm on the right track? And so yeah, it was fantastic. But back to what I was saying about my favorite scene, looking over at Amy after doing the breakup scene, she was like crying, and she was happy. She was just really happy, and it was that was like one of the best moments of the whole production. Like, I felt like we just delivered exactly what she wanted, and to see the author who created these characters just happy and getting to see them brought to life, that was one of the best experiences and moments, I think, for me.
I love that you hear some of the internal dialogue too. But as an actor, you're doing that not while you're doing the scene, like that's done as an ADR, right? So
no, they didn't even, there was no, I think there's some moments where Kate has some, she might have some, like narration over certain scenes, but no, like Miles isn't like, there's no scenes where I'm like telling you what I'm thinking. But it's helpful knowing what he's thinking, because so often in life, people say one thing and that's not what they mean at all. So I hope I hope people got that from the certain scenes who are very familiar with the book. But again, like you do all that work, and you just have to kind of throw it away once they say action, and just listen and try to connect with your scene partner like the best you can. But yeah, it was amazing having her on set. It was, and she's hilarious, by the way. She's one of the funniest people that I've ever met, and so we just had so much fun. Like, yeah.
I love that. Did she write the script too?
So she helped write the script. So it was Amy Dawes, the director, Colleen Davy James, and then David A. Gregory.
Okay.
So yeah, I think David A. Gregory did a lot of it, but again, like most of our dialogue was all from the book.
It very much so, because I read the book too, and it's a lot of it is so incredibly similar. It's just the format is so different to put it into a script, as opposed
which is so hard to do. And I think the way that they did it was just perfect. I feel like it really got all of the things, like the necessary things from the book, and they were able to squeeze that all in, because so often movies that get adapted from books, they change so much, and it's really sad when there's already a built-in fan base. They completely lose everything that they've originally enjoyed,
Right. What has the feedback been so far from the fans?
It's been amazing, honestly. Like that was another terrifying thing. It's like you're playing these characters that people love already, and they already have these connections, and so it's like that was really scary. Like, but there was so much source material to go off of, so it which is also scary because there is so much source material. Like, if you do mess up, it's like do you know how to read? Like, do you know how to read?
Sarah, you're falling down.
I'm falling down. Keep going.
I'm next. I have a ring light too. It might fall too. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, the fans so far, everything that I've seen, it's been great feedback. They've been happy with it. I keep hearing that the chemistry is really good, which is a great thing because it's a rom-com. But yeah, I mean, it's been great. It's been great.
Right.
There's a comment. Oh, sorry, Julie. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Amy's got quite a following, and just for her writing alone. And so then the movie has a following. It wasn't hard for us to find people excited about the book or the movie when we were going to talk with you. It was very easy to follow. So yeah, I could see how you want to make sure you're bringing them what they expect to, right?
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to let anybody down, you know? But we just had an amazing crew of people, a bunch of talented actors. And again, I was saying this in the beginning, like, Madison is such a phenomenal actress. Like, I just got to watch her, and everything I was doing was just reacting off of what she was doing. She was just so good. And getting to just work with her because we did rehearsal for an entire week before filming, which is unheard of.
Right.
Like,
it is.
So yeah, they flew us out a week before filming, and we just got to hang out, and we got to work with Colleen, the director. Just us three, like, working on all of the the important scenes. I mean, all the scenes I think are important, but mainly our scenes, we really dived into them and just like broke them down and figured out what was happening. And that was super helpful. And like, Madison and I we went and saw like a movie one night. We would get dinner every night, and just to build that rapport with her I think that translates on screen like so much. And also, fun fact, we actually worked together like 2 months prior to booking this job.
Really?
What'd you work on?
So it was, do you guys know who Jonathan Frakes is?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you guys ever seen the show, I think it's called X Factor, Factor Fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So they did like a reboot of that show in Germany, but they filmed all the new episodes here in LA, and Madison and I have an episode together. So pretty much in that scene, it's like we're going on a date. This is our third date, and I'm like, I play a doctor, and I'm a serial killer. And you don't know this from the start, but like, my plan is to kill her, and she ends up getting warned by the bartender, and the bartender, and he's an angel, pretty much a guardian angel, and she dodges that bullet. And yeah, it's kind of funny, but we had to do like a small kissing scene in that, and we met that day on set. And then we just, like, usually in this industry, you work with somebody and you never end up seeing them again.
Right.
So we said our goodbyes, and it was a pleasure working with her. And then like 2 months later, she messages me on Instagram, and she's like, "Oh my God." She's like, you booked the character playing opposite of me in this movie. And I was like, so confused. But then after thinking, I was like, oh yeah, the actress or the character in the script, Kate, she has red hair. And then I started putting everything together, and it was just really funny. It was a crazy coincidence though, because it wasn't the same casting director. There was nobody
connected.
It wasn't somebody that said like, oh, I liked them together, I'm going to cast them in this. Yeah.
And I don't even think the show that we did together came out yet in Germany. And it was, I mean, it's all they recorded our voices, obviously, but they dubbed over it with German voice actors.
That's crazy.
So Yeah, but that didn't even come out yet, so no one even saw that. Like, I just got that footage, I think, like a month or so ago. So
Wow.
it was, yeah.
Okay, that's a crazy story
That
actually
is a
about like
crazy
how
story.
small the
Yeah.
business. Like sometimes it feels so big, and then sometimes we're talking to people and we're like, this feels so small. Like sometimes
Yeah.
it's like, well, and there you are, you're back together again. That's crazy. One of the comments in the comments is same day kiss. I cannot imagine that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love.
It's so crazy to me. I mean, I know some, like, the lower budget films, they don't really have time to do rehearsal processes. Like,
Right.
I totally get that. But it's funny because, like, the last two films that I did, I mean, are not Wait With Me, but the two films before that, Christmas in Pine Valley, and then Love Marks the Spot. Both those films, just by coincidence with like the location scouting and how the schedule worked out, we ended up shooting the big kiss scene like the first day. And you're just meeting these people, and again, I know that there's really experienced actors that can just click in and get that chemistry, but for me, I've been studying acting since 2017, but I haven't really done a whole lot of like professional projects. And so it's still like I'm learning and I'm getting better. But those first two films, especially Christmas in Pine Valley, that was really hard that was during COVID too. So it was like everybody was freaked out. Everybody was still freaked out. And everyone's wearing masks. And then right when we start filming, it's like, take your masks off. Okay, you're going to kiss that person now. And it's like, cool, it's nice to meet you.
Hope we don't both get COVID. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is right. We've heard this not just from you. We've heard this from many, and we've had a lot of actually very experienced actors on our show, and they talk about exactly that. It's always a little awkward, but you're professional and you figure it out. And for those movies, you don't get rehearsal time, do you?
No. Unfortunately, we don't. And I mean, in between scenes, you try to find the actors that are willing to rehearse with you. Like I'm really big on rehearsing and going over the scene and stuff. But I know a lot of actors that they kind of like to keep it really fresh from the start and not rehearse at all, which is and when I meet those actors, I respect that 100%. But no, I'm someone that like I like to run the lines and just get it in my body as much as possible. But yeah, it's a bummer that films don't do it as much now, because I think the rehearsal process is like the most fun. It's like that's where you really figure things out and discover things and get to have fun, and there's not as much pressure because we're not filming yet. So
right.
So you have a comment or a question here from Amy Dawes. She says, Andrew, what was it like to work with Alexa? She seemed like a really talented actress. And then everybody's laughing in the comments.
Alexa? What character was Alexa? I'm drawing a blank right now.
Perfect. I don't know either. So.
To ask Amy right now. Amy, I don't know what you're talking about.
We're usually in on all the inside jokes. So.
Oh, the customer service rep.
Oh my God. Okay, so Amy Dawes had a cameo in the film, and she's when Dryston, Kate's ex-boyfriend, comes in and causes a whole scene in the tire depot. Amy is next to me, and I think this wasn't scripted or anything, but I'm putting in like a customer's, like kind of like a receipt with her. I'm having her type up the receipt for the customer and telling her like what services we did to the vehicle. But yeah, her character's name was Alexa. I just think of her as Amy Dawes. It was, but she did amazing. I thought she did fantastic.
Well, there you are, everybody. That's your Easter egg. Look for the author of the book.
That's one of our things is where I ask, is there an Easter egg you can look for in the movie? So clearly the author of the book is the Easter egg.
Yeah. So originally in the script, David A. Gregory wrote Amy Dawes to play the friend that sends Kate the pizza in the beginning.
Oh,
yeah.
Or not in the beginning, but closer to the beginning of the film. That was originally supposed to be played by Amy Dawes. But
Okay.
yeah, but there was quite a bit of dialogue, and what Amy has said was that Tosca called her up after Tosca read the script and was like, "So Amy, what's your acting experience?" And Amy said, I think she said, she's like, "Well, I don't know if it was elementary school or middle school, but she said that she played, I think, one of the witches from The Wizard of Oz." I can't remember exactly, but yeah, that's what she was saying her acting experience was, and then they ended up changing it. So yeah.
I love that answer though. One of the witches, like not the Wicked Witch of the West, but the East. That's so much fun. Are there any other Easter eggs that we could look for in the movie, like a little something?
Man,
Or like a favorite place or something that it was cool.
There was a lot of background people that are like passionistas. Like some of the bar scenes.
Okay.
Fun.
So that was cool. Like I think it was like 2 days during filming that we had the passionistas for Passion Flicks. They're like the super fans.
Okay.
They got to
Okay.
they got to do like set visits, and we got to meet them and just hang out with them, and then they helped us film some scenes by playing like background characters, which was awesome. And that I think background actors, in this industry, they get the least amount of like credit for the work they do. They sit there. I've done background a couple times, and it's hard work. And so I really appreciate that they came in and did that. So it was fantastic.
That's super fun that they were bringing the fans in. Like I said, it was easy for us to find, just like excitement about the movie and for Passion Flicks. And I love that they're called the Passionistas, but that they were on set and able to do background, super fun. And that's a great Easter egg. So now here's me. I'm going to have to go back and like look for these people in the bar scene and stuff. That's super fun.
Now, Amy's writing in the comments that there's a mention of her character Mac in the book Blindsided that only Amy Dawes fans would pick up. So,
yeah,
for that too.
That's a big Easter egg.
Yeah,
Mac, the Scottish footballer, or the scene where Kate goes and gets the carburetor for my grandfather's truck. So she goes to that house, and the guy that owns that house, they don't show him, but they reference him in the film. But yeah, Mac is, I think he is a later character in the series.
Okay, Scottish footballer, huh? So that would be a soccer player, correct?
Yes.
We'll do some American translation or something like that, right? Now I'm going to have to move along and read more books because I can read through these fast. So I'm all in. Super. That's a super fun.
I only started it. I haven't finished the book yet. But
I read
favorite kind of books, really fun, easy reads. Yes. Okay. Tell us a little bit about how you got into acting.
So, I was a very like eccentric kid growing up. I would get into characters, and like I would literally dress up like them for. I mean, there was a handful of characters that I was really into, which was these are strange characters. I really loved Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding you. Like, I think I was 6. I would wear a wig. I remember I found one of my sister's, it was a jean jacket. It was black, and it had like Barbie bedazzled on the back. But the glitter on that, I thought I thought Michael Jackson would wear that. And I found this Barbie dress that was this red dress that had it was like a one strap dress, and my mom said that when I found it, I like slid it over my hand, because it resembled a glove, and it was like a red sparkly dress. So
that's so creative.
Yeah, so I was always like dressing up, and I'm not kidding you. For like an entire year, my mom couldn't get me out of the house without wearing these outfits. Like, and I remember my dad was just like, "Oh my gosh, like what is going on?"
I literally am looking to the right to see if our Michael Jackson sparkly glove is sitting over there, because we have one at this house.
Yeah, I would have killed for an actual glove as a child, but I had to make do with what I found around the house. And then I mean, like I was really into Peter Pan, and it's kids obviously are like into things, but like I wore my Peter Pan costume for like 6 months straight. Like I did. That's all I wore. That's all. Like
I think
my mom.
you and my son need to meet, because I'm dying. I'm dying right now. Like, what's the next thing you were into? Because he literally had to buy at Walt Disney World a knife so he could swim across the pool with the knife in his mouth, like Peter Pan out to
So I had a little, it wasn't a real knife. It was a little dagger that was plastic, but same way I'd have it in my hands and I would climb the tree like I was climbing the top of a sail.
He bought it in the Pirates of the Caribbean like junk shop at Walt Disney World. Like he's 7. He's got he's 7. He's got 5 money from his grandma, and that's what he's got to buy because he needs to do that. Okay, all right. Who else did you want?
I got really into Star Wars, so that was a whole thing. I thought I was a Jedi, but it was like
you're not.
I'm not a Jedi, unfortunately. Oh. That'd be really great though. No, but my mom fed into all of this, and she was always kind of the one that was like, she always was like, you should get into acting, and but I was like, I enjoyed entertaining my family and like putting on shows for them and making them laugh however way I could. But I was really shy outside of that. Like which is funny because I would be wearing these crazy outfits, but I wouldn't talk to anybody. Like they were kind of like me. I was hiding behind them in a way.
Right.
But my mom was always like, she was always one of the people that would always say that to me. She's like, you should get into acting. You should get into acting. And then around 9 years old, I started getting into skateboarding, and that pretty much just took over my life. So I was skateboarding from age 9 to like 24, and I dropped out of high school for it. I know I got my GED, but I dropped out of high school in 11th grade. I moved to Portland, and I was skating in Portland, and then I moved back home, and I was riding for multiple companies.
Right.
And one of the companies that I was skating for, the skateboard company I was riding for, was based in San Diego, and they asked me to move down to San Diego to film a video part for their team. And I moved down there. I was living in a house full of skateboarders. It was kind of crazy, but it was a great experience. And with the first like year and a half, year and a half of being down there, I was filming, getting a bunch of footage for the video, and then I blew my right knee out. I tore my ACL completely, my MCL, my meniscuses, and my knee, I did like the rehab on it, and I was trying to like strengthen it to get it back to where it was. And after it healed up, I tried to skate again, and my knee would just pop out of place because I was jumping down really big things, and my body wasn't taking it anymore. And I went through a really kind of, I got dropped from all my skateboard companies that I was sponsored by, and I wasn't skateboarding anymore. My family wanted me to move back home to Spokane, and I kind of felt like a failure, and I was like, I'm going to stay here in San Diego and try to figure it out. And I started dishwashing at a restaurant called Stone Brewery. And then I worked my way up to like a busser, and then to a server. And then I was bar backing, and then I started bartending events there. And I worked there for like four years. But I'm first year of like not being able to skate again, and I was working and doing all this stuff. I met someone that was taking acting classes in San Diego, and when I was working, I was always like the guy trying to make everybody laugh, and that's putting on a show for everybody. And one of my friends there, he was a server. He was like, "Hey, you should think about getting into acting. I think you would be great at that." I ended up going to an acting class, and I fell in love with that immediately. I was like, it was the first time that I felt something that like I, I never felt as passionate about anything
Mhm.
as I felt with skateboarding up until that point. Like
Mhm.
I just the excitement of like going up and doing a scene, and like you're just your heart pumping and you're not sure what's going to happen, and it was really exciting, and from there I was like hooked. I was like, and I've always been someone like when I go all in with what I'm doing, and that's what I
Mhm.
did with skateboarding, and it didn't work out, but I'm a big believer in that everything happens for a reason, and if I didn't pursue that, I never would have stumbled into that acting class in San
Right.
Diego, and I wouldn't have experienced all the things that I've experienced now up until now. So, so yeah, that was the really long answer.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a great
and
answer though.
so, but athletes who compete at an elite level and who are working professionally, like you were, like it's so much work and commitment. Like people don't understand how much work and commitment that is to do those kinds of things. It builds up a crazy good work ethic, right? So,
Yeah,
yeah, I think you use that as your springboard into your next thing. Then that's
yeah, 100%. And it's funny because a lot of my buddies that I grew up skateboarding with, and just the friends that I made through it, we would always talk about like how if we wanted to pursue anything else, it would be like easy. And of course, that was just us being like young, like cocky,
Mhm.
Mhm.
immature people. But it was skateboarding. It's like when you go to a skate park or you go somewhere and you learn this trick, and you practice it all day or all week or however long it takes to get that trick like perfect, and then you take it to a really big or crazy spot to do that trick to film it, like, and you could be at this spot falling and cutting your back up and getting really hurt, but you keep doing it until you land it and you get it on film, and then you're sore for a whole week after that. But it's like, so it was just like the determination that I and the persistence that I learned through skateboarding. I now put that towards acting, and I feel like I've always been someone that I don't initially like. I feel like I honestly don't have talent. It's just I have a crazy work ethic. Because when I first started acting, I was not good. And I'm still learning every single day. But when I first started skateboarding, I was awful. I was awful for like 4 or 5 years, and then all of a sudden it clicked, and then I took
Right.
off, and then I started getting sponsors and making money from it, and so I've just kind of what I learned through that, I'm like, I'm gonna do this with acting, and I'm not going to stop until till it clicks for me. And I feel like I'm getting more of that click now, but yeah, it's like a never ending learning process, just like anything that you decide to pursue in life. It's never you're always gonna be learning.
Yeah. We
I,
hear
I
that a lot from different actors that we talk to, that they're constantly still learning, still trying to perfect different parts of their craft and or different areas of the industry. And I think that's a commonality that most actors have.
Yeah,
you have a significant amount of modeling also
Yeah.
in your
yeah,
background. How'd you get into
yeah.
that?
So, kind of around the same time when I started taking that acting class, I was bartending a private party in La Jolla. It was like a birthday party, and there was a photographer that was one of the guests there, Wander Aguiar, and he and I still work with him today. Like he's an amazing guy. He's actually he's kind of like a parent to me. He's helped me out so much throughout the years. But he came up to me and he was like, "Have you thought about modeling?" And I did some previous modeling things for a couple of the skateboard companies that I
Mhm.
rode for. They were just like, "Hey, would you be down to like model some of the clothes?"
Yeah.
And you just have to stand there and just take photos in it. And I was so awkward in that. I was like, "This is so weird," and I was like, "All my friends are gonna make fun of me for this." Um, but so that was my only experience. But yeah, he was like, "I think you would do well in this. Like, are you interested?" And he gave me his card, and he set up a shoot like like that previous, or we set up a shoot like that previous weekend, or that following weekend. And from there, that first shoot that we did, he ended up selling a couple of the images for book cover stuff for authors. And then that opened up a whole nother world for me, kind of, because I started shooting with him for book covers, and with those shots as well, he got me signed with some modeling agencies. And then I was doing a lot of commercial work, a lot of modeling work, and I looked at that as like a good way to get comfortable in front of the camera. And because my only experience was skateboarding in front of the camera, so this was more of like, I had my skateboard to hide behind, in a sense, like my ability to skateboard. It was just me in front of the camera. And that's you feel very kind of naked, you know, in a sense. So I thought that would be a good way to get comfortable in front of a camera. And so I was like, started doing modeling, and modeling kind of took off a lot quicker than I even expected. I got signed with a lot of agencies. And then I ended up living in Milan for like 4 or 5 months, and I was doing, I modeled for Armani and Dolce & Gabbana, and like did a bunch of like a lot of crazy stuff while I was there. And then I had to kind of step back, because it got to a point where they wanted me to stay out there longer, and I looked for acting classes in while I was living in Milan, but it was like everything was Italian, and I was like, this isn't gonna work because I don't speak Italian. Right. So yeah, I kind of stepped back from like that high fashion stuff, and I came back to California and got back into class. And but yeah, modeling kind of gave me the freedom to, I was able to quit all of my survivor jobs that I had, because like I was serving and bartending, and I even did construction for a little bit in La Jolla when I was in San Diego. So I was able to quit all of that. I was just doing modeling work, and then I was just taking classes at night, and it gave me that freedom to really focus on acting. But the issue with that was, everybody in LA and people that I met in the industry, they were like, oh, you're a model. Right. And so it was really hard to kind of like pull away from that. But again, I think being a good actor requires to have a lot of life experience. And so many actors, they train and they forget to live their own life. Right. And that's where I think most of I think really good actors, really great actors, they have just a surplus of like life experiences that they can pull from, really. So I think I think when actors forget to live their own life and they're so focused on just training, it's really sad to see, because it's like you've never, I don't know. I'm not gonna. This is a whole thing that I can go down and do, and I'm not gonna do that to you guys. So yeah, I had a lot of great experiences through modeling, and I don't do it as much now, because I joined SAG, and a lot of the modeling work is non-union. Right. So that cut a lot of my work in half. But yeah, I mean, I'm grateful for everything that I've done up until now. Like, I've got to travel the world, so I'm very thankful for all that.
It's amazing. Do you think that modeling really helps you with like that whole like camera point of view while you're acting?
I mean, when I'm doing scenes, I'm not really thinking about how I look on camera, like, because I always thought like, oh, I'll be able to learn like my good sides, and like, but I mean, something that it did help is like finding your light, knowing where the light is. So often this isn't a big part of acting, it really isn't, but when you're on a set, the director or the cinematographer, they'll come up to you and they'll be like, hey, everything is great, like the scene's working, but just find your light, like find your light and stay in it. And that's kind of like a sixth sense to me now. It's like, I know if I'm not lit, it doesn't affect me in the scene, but I know that it's not. So I'm constantly, or like they say, like, find the camera, like if you don't see the lens, then the camera won't see you. And so it's like, these are all like just it's just like instinctual for me now at this point. But I'm also, it's like a lot of the films that I've done, especially with passion flicks, I had my shirt off and my clothes off quite a bit. And that can be very jarring for people. And for me, I felt really comfortable in that because of all the modeling. Like I've done fashion shows in front of hundreds of people in a Speedo. So I mean, I met my wife in a Speedo. So I'm like, it's, I feel really comfortable in my own skin, thankfully, because I wasn't like that growing up. I was so awkward and uncomfortable as a child and into my teens. But yeah, I mean, modeling really helped me kind of get out of my shell in a sense.
Yeah. Well, you're kind of forced to, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in my mind. Okay. So Amy wrote something else, which I thought was a great question. She said, what was it like getting the offer to play Miles? What did that feel like?
It was, I freaked out. It was amazing. So I actually, it's funny because I auditioned for Passion Flicks like a year or so prior to auditioning to play Miles. I auditioned for the role of Drew in Tangled. And I didn't get it, but thankfully so, because if I did it, this wouldn't have happened. But I remember doing that audition. I remember wanting it really bad. I remember calling like one of my best friends, and I was like, I want this so bad. And I don't think the audition just didn't feel right. Like I didn't click with the character. And it's always a blessing in disguise, because you always want every audition that you do, but really you have to trust casting directors, because it would be awful to get cast in something that you're just not right for, and then you ruin the whole film. But I remember really wanting to work with Passion Flicks, because I've done so many romance book covers. I'm already kind of in that world.
Right.
And I remember telling him, I was like, I'm gonna work for them, like at some point, like it's gonna happen. And I just remember saying that. And so when I booked this, it was just like I just felt like it was kind of meant to be. And but this is also another thing, like Amy Dawes, when her book got optioned, I think that was 2 years before this, I think she has a really big following on social media, and she asked her followers, she was like, who do you guys want to play Miles? And I've done I think it's somewhere around like 500 or 600 romance book covers. I've done a lot of them.
So you're a lot of different book boyfriends. That's what they.
Yeah. And people were saying in the comment section, they were saying Andrew Beirnat, and I haven't really at that point. I think I only had a couple things under my belt, but nothing like really significant to like take on a leading role. And her and I ended up, she had so many people message her my name. Her and I ended up kind of talking, and she was like, whenever they start auditioning, I'll throw your name into the mix. And so, yeah, really, I owe her so much for putting my name into this once they started the auditioning process, because if she didn't, I don't know if I would have been seen for it, you know? But yeah, when I found out I booked it, I freaked out. I was so happy.
I can't picture anybody else as the tire guy, though, actually, at Tire Depot. Like at this point, it's like, especially with the background that your dad had a shop and stuff. I was like, oh no, it had to be you. You got all those romance covers, and your dad was a mechanic. Like this had to be, this was yours.
Yeah, it was one of the words that we kept using during the filming of Wait With Me was kismet.
Yeah.
And that's honestly just the fact that Madison and I worked together like 2 months before this.
Yeah.
And then I honestly, it was just like it was the perfect storm with how everything happened. And again, going back to what I said, like everything happens for a reason. Like I'm such a big believer in that. Like I felt like this was all meant to be. And I'm so grateful for the relationships that I made, or the friendships that I made on this film. And it was an amazing experience.
I love that. Yeah, we love these kinds of stories. This is like perfect. This is super fun. Do you have a dream project that you'd love to work on?
I really want to play a bad guy in something.
So there's a fun question here. You could kind of piggyback it. Somebody said,
right, was it Lillian?
If you could play any, oh my goodness, can't find it, but any like well-known villain, who would it be?
I'm gonna say this because it's completely true. I want to play the Joker, but of course, there's all the greatest actors have played him, and it's kind of now it's to the point where it's been so overdone. But I mean, if people follow me on social media, I constantly will I paint my face like the Joker, and I'll do like monologues and stuff. And I don't know how many times I've been the Joker for Halloween. I've been every variation of the Joker that's possible. I think that would be such a fun character to get to explore and then find my own way. I feel like I would be I really love the comic books.
Right.
Growing up, so I would probably stay more towards I would want to do more of a dark portrayal of the comic book version of him, but the Joker, and I know it's so overdone, people are going to be like, we don't need another Joker, but I'd have so much fun.
But the Joker has such he's got backstory, he's complicated and iconic, right? It's all the things.
Yeah.
That's a great answer.
I know. Do you have time to play a little game with us?
Yeah.
A kind of game.
That's not really a game.
Not a real game.
Just answer.
So we like to ask our guests their favorite thing. So do you have a favorite rom-com?
Favorite rom-com? I do. Why is it? I'm drawing a blank right now. Damn it! The game's supposed to be fast. I'm sure.
No, it doesn't have to be. We don't care.
What's I don't know why I'm drawing a blank right now. What's the one with Ryan Gosling and Steve Carell and
oh yes.
Wait, why am I?
Yeah.
Why am I? It's like 3 words. Yeah. It's 3 words.
Right.
Google it.
Somebody tell us. Put it in there. What is the name of that one?
Oh, I just watched this recently.
Is it? This is so. I've seen this movie.
Crazy Stupid Love.
Yes, Crazy Stupid Love. I probably that because Michelle and I watched that. My wife and I watched that like at least once a month. We're like let's because it makes us laugh.
Right. That's so that one. We should be. All right. Favorite TV show or TV show you're currently binging?
Right now I'm watching Successions and Barry, but I really love Successions. Like that. That's a great show on HBO Max.
Everybody loves Successions.
No,
yeah, it's good.
I have not seen it. My husband watched the whole thing, but I have not seen it. What about a favorite food?
Favorite food. So I'm just gonna say it's Eggs Benedict. Whenever I go to a breakfast place, so especially when we're traveling, I always get Eggs Benedict. So
delicious.
Where's the best one been? Like, what city were you in?
I was somewhere on the Oregon coast with my friends in I think it was 2011 or something. It was some little town on the Oregon coast, but it was the best Eggs Benedict. I think it was. I don't know if it was called Oceanside or I don't know, but it was the best Eggs Benedict I've ever had. It was so good.
Still think about it good.
Yeah, every time. No, it kind of ruined Eggs Benedict for me because now anytime I have it somewhere, I'm just not as good as the one I had in 2011.
And the hollandaise sauce has to be just perfection too.
It has to be perfect. It has to be perfect. Yeah. I'm an Eggs Benedict connoisseur pretty much, I think so.
My son and I went on a mission at one point in time to make the best hollandaise sauce.
It's really hard. It's really hard to make. Mine is awful. I'm not good at it.
We ended up with Andrew Zimmern's version in the blender. That's where we ended up with.
Well, if it's good, I might need the recipe. So.
Yeah, but that was a while ago that we went down that rabbit hole. But we were making all kinds of versions and watching videos. But I think it was Andrew Zimmern's in the blender where you take and you're pouring it down the hole and it's blending. Tells perfection. I kind of love that answer, and it's something that actors who are often conscientious about, how they look. You're not eating a lot of eggs Benedict.
No, but I would if I can find a good one every day. I would.
Yeah.
Every day. Love that. Fun. What's your favorite drink? You worked as a bartender too, right?
Favorite drink. So, I only drink like IPAs, and I know this is so because Stone Brewery, where I was working for like 4 years, it's all they make their own IPAs in-house and stuff. I mean, their own beers, but they specialize in IPAs. So working there as a bartender, when you would show up for your shift, they would let you do tasters of the new beers on tap. So I just acquired a taste for it to where now if I drink any other type of beer, like if you give me Bud Light or something like that, literally tastes like water to me. Yeah. Like I don't taste it at all. So my favorite beer is probably the Stone Delicious IPA. If they have it, that's what I'll order.
I love that.
Did you have a favorite drink to make?
The easy ones. The easy ones.
I always loved making a martini. Like that was my favorite. Which is
I ruined a lot of drinks. So I don't think I was especially good at it, but I was like, I kind of poured a little bit heavy, so people didn't mind. People were like, well, I'm getting my money.
It's a heavy pour, yeah.
I kind of love that. Have you ever tried home brewing?
No, I haven't. No, I don't know if I'd be good at that. Yeah. My dad makes his own wine though.
Oh,
and I've seen kind of that process, but his wine tastes, the alcohol percentage on it is insanely high. It's like you have a cup of it and you don't need to drink ever again, pretty much. So
I love that.
Yeah, that homemade wine is like always a little special.
Yeah. I'm like, you're gonna make people blind with this. Like you need to be careful. I was like, whatever you're doing, I don't think it's right. I don't think what you're doing is right.
Nice try. Try again. Okay, I don't know if you're into musical theater, but do you have a favorite musical? It could be like a production or a movie.
And Disney counts.
Disney does count, yes.
Okay. Well, I saw Les Miserables. So I saw that in San Diego at the, I forget what theater it was, but it was one of the I saw that, and that, I don't know if I would want to do that, but that was like the whole production and everybody was so fantastic in that. But gosh, I don't know. I haven't really thought about like what musical I'd want to do, because I love karaoke. I love karaoke, and I've been told that I should do a musical, but I haven't really gone that far down the road to like think about. I think anything that someone would cast me in, I'll do it. Yeah.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
Goodness Gracious, Great Balls of Fire by Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yeah. Oh, nice choice. Nice choice. That's a lot of fun too for karaoke, right?
Yeah. It gets the people going.
Yeah.
Right. So it's that stage performer. That's that performer in you. That it's the little kid in you.
This is a funny story. I'm sorry, I'm going off track here.
No, we don't care.
So when we had the premiere in Denver, one of the last nights of the Readers Take Denver signing, Amy Dawes and me and a couple other authors and readers, we went to, I forced everybody. I was like, let's go to a karaoke bar. Let's go to a karaoke bar. And it was kind of late, and there was kind of a long wait list, but they sat there with me and waited, and I signed up to play Great Balls of Fire. And I was all over the place. I was like singing in people's faces. I did a knee slide on the stage.
Who has video of this?
There's video. There is video of it. They posted it somewhere.
Okay, we need to go diving down. Yeah.
Yeah. There's also a video of me singing Great Balls of Fire. I think 2 Halloweens ago in full Joker makeup on my Instagram. So yeah,
for that.
I love that song.
That's perfect.
That was an outstanding answer. Absolutely. I'll go diving for the in Joker. Yeah. We'll find that somewhere and put that up. Fine. All right. Do you have a favorite band or singer then?
Favorite band is probably The Doors.
Yeah, classic. Yeah. Classic.
Yeah, that's another. I do. After I do Great Balls of Fire, I usually will follow up with 521.
Oh,
The Doors.
Nice.
So
yeah. I love it. Okay, so everybody can watch your new movie, Wait With Me, on Passionflix, which is a streaming service that turns romance novels into movies, which is a lot of fun. Tonight.
Nope.
No.
Tomorrow night. On Friday night on Great American Family. What movies are airing on Friday night?
Christmas in Pine Valley.
There we go.
Yeah, Christmas in Pine Valley. They're slightly different. Wait for Me and Christmas in Pine Valley. Slightly different. And that airs on Great American Family at 8/7 Central on Friday evening. So look for that one there. And now that we know that The Kiss was filmed immediately.
Yep. Yeah.
Which is perfection. Do you have any other upcoming things that we can look for?
So there's another film that I did called Love Marks the Spot, but it's only viewable right now. It premiered in Canada.
Okay. Yeah.
So I don't know when the release in the US will be, but yeah, if you live in Canada, I'm forgetting the channel that it's on. It's called Home Search. I'm gonna butcher it.
Heart and Home.
Home. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Okay.
So a big channel.
Yeah, if you're in Canada, you can stream that, I think, on Amazon. So
okay, yeah. What was it called?
Love Marks the Spot.
Love Marks, not X Marks the Spot. My 5-year-old was saying that today. Okay, and where can we find you on social media?
I am more active on Instagram, so I recommend people to go on there. I'm not too active on Twitter and Facebook. I use Facebook for like family stuff, but my Instagram is at Andrew Beirnat, and just how you spell my name. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, this has been a lot of fun. So thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Sarah and Julie. This has been fantastic. So.
We are going to end the broadcast and say goodbye off screen. So thank you, everybody. It was fun to see some of your fans. And Amy, thanks for stopping by.
And then stay with us, Andrew, for a second. We'll say bye off screen.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much.